Okay, there we go. Yes, you can stay unmuted. That's cool. Because that's part of this, obviously, is to allow ourselves to be all that we are, vocally, non-vocally, expanding or going inside. So sister soundboarding sessions, something that's been born out of Lorraine and I co-creating together. And Lorraine copywrites for me, and we've known each other for a while, since Unbound, and I was very attracted to Lorraine as soon as I was in the Unbound call. As we are in these kind of forums, aren't we? There's somebody that we kind of just naturally are attracted to. Just this co-creation and how this idea has turned into an invitation to others to come in and listen to a conversation that is being created in the moment and recorded, and for us all to uplift each other. So I would like to open with some sound, and I'd like everybody to just be comfortable in their own way. So for me, that's definitely closing my eyes. So if that's for you as well. And I have used a deck today, and I've pulled 2 cards, and the first one is Deep Restoration, Rest and Restoration, and then the second one is To Play. So 2 very different energies. So I don't know which one resonates the most with you, but I think if we rest deeply, then we can play more. And maybe this is what this whole conversation is going to be about. So just finding yourself in the position you've chosen to be in, to receive the sound. And just to know in Zoom that the sound will come intermittently because of the way Zoom is. And then placing a hand anywhere on your body that feels comfortable to receive the sound today. It might be that you want to place the other hand somewhere else or on top of the first hand that you placed on your body. And I welcome you. I'd like you to welcome yourselves into this space, all parts of you that have been called here to receive the sound. Beautiful. And if you have any questions to yourself or to your guides, my guides, just put that question out now in your mind. Okay, here we go. Ikatu uruma akata ano uruma ayo uru. Ikata ara. We breathe that in. Ishtanamui. Urumui. Just allowing the breath to be whatever it needs to be. Perhaps inhaling, exhaling with me, in and out of the mouth. Through the nose, out through the mouth. Onoi. Just being shown this gentleness inside. The playground is inside of us. And I went live last night and I found this space below my heart. And so I breathed into that space and I allowed that space to open up, and then that gave me even more space below the anxiety that I was feeling before I spoke live to this group of 25 people. So this is a reminder that that playground is inside of us. And then we become more expansive as we find where that playground is inside of ourselves. Like pockets of pleasure that Nicola Humber would talk about, the pockets of pleasure. The spaces inside that are waiting to be opened. And just notice how your body's responding to this. And just for me, how I would love just to talk like this for the whole hour, but we will come back in to what we know as talking, which is through words rather than vibration and sound. But just knowing there are areas in your life that this sound is going to impact. And that you are here, I believe, because you're a light worker and that you're seeking depth, more understanding and trust. To trust yourself to come out. Yes, they say that's right. Yes, it's very right. To come out now into this world, onto earth, to expand your knowledge and all that you have to say. And just a little bit of toning. I'm going to place my hands together now and put them on my heart and tone a sound which you can join in with. You can mute yourself or you can join in communally together to tone, not sing, tone. One more time, inhaling and noticing how the sound gets more expansive, more open, and take it to that space that perhaps you found that was your playground, your playhouse, the play space inside of you. Inhaling, exhaling. We'll take the hands up to the third eye to receive our own wisdom. And then to share this wisdom to our mouth and our throat area, to speak out the wisdom. And then to the heart, doing all that we do with love, protection. And as I'm learning, knowing that all of this wisdom is within us. It is all us. The guides are part of us. The ancestry wisdom, the shamanic energy is all part of us being let out now. And then just in your own way, just stay as long as you need. Maybe rub the hands together and place them over the eyes so that when you open the eyes, you've got a little bit of protection from the light before you come back into the room. So perhaps a little share on how it's feeling. Maybe it can just be one word.
It was beautiful. Thank you, Natalie. When you said speak your wisdom, if you listen on the playback, there was a bird that sang. Did you notice that too, Emily? It was really beautiful. There had been no bird song loud before, and then all of a sudden, just this beautiful song. Beautiful.
I didn't hear it, so I will listen on the replay.
Realized, I think, is the word for me. Yeah, this has been a magical few days for me. And yeah, I'm so pleased to have found my way here. So yeah.
Yay! So pleased to have you here, Emily. And as I said, this sister soundboarding sessions, Lorraine and I have been working together for a long time, and also we have times when we just call each other in to be soundboarding to have soundboarding, and so we've had, this is the third one in this series, and then it just developed into, why don't we open it up? And I just want to share, really where I'm at now is, as I said in the invitation, is capturing in real time. Because I think as soulpreneurs, solopreneurs, entrepreneur, whatever preneur you identify with, lightworker, if you're identifying with that, is that we get caught up in that captured bird in the cage of, it all has to be in line, it all has to be right. And I'm just pushing through that now. And yeah, this feels really gorgeous. And I had a conversation with a lady called Alex, and I shared it, as I will share this one on YouTube, and it's already received more views than any of my work has ever received.
Wow.
And it was so effortless. And the reason why is because we're in it. We're in the flow, and we believe. And I'm fully in trust. And I so believe in co-hosting. I believe in co-conversation, in community. And I've been very much in hiding isolation throughout the whole of my career. And now I'm coming out, well, I've come out of that, which obviously you can read and share. So this is a celebration as well for Lorraine's book baby. Yay! Raising Wild Birds. And I know that we are all in Sisters of the Unbound community. We believe in unbinding. So yeah, just let's see where this leads. Lorraine, let's bring you in. What's happening? And it has to be, vulnerable, the human behind this, what's been happening for you in this launch, in this process, how's it been going?
I think going back to what you said at the beginning when you drew the two cards, and one of them was about deep rest. I think I mean, not only are we going into winter in the Northern Hemisphere, but I think it's really important to have that rest. And for me personally, it's been such a year of highs and lows, that I really need this period of deep rest now. So I've got a couple of little part-time jobs, and I've taken a week's holiday this week. So it's really lovely to just get back into my own, coming down at 6 o'clock in the morning, doing some journaling for an hour, been to the gym a couple of times this week, doing all the things that I really like to do. Just, it's lovely to shut the curtains at 4:30, and got my Christmas tree lights on sparkling, and everything's just cozy and warm, and it just feels like creating that nurturing, cozy hug in a space for myself. And then when I allow myself to rest deeply, just like you said at the beginning, then the play can come up. because I think I'd got to a point where I'd lost a bit of the joy of content creation. And I've always been a prolific content creator, you know, going back to being a child, writing stories, trying knitting, trying crochet, doing sewing, like all those little things. I was always
Yay.
making something. And I think, you know, content creation as we know it today on social media is just an extension of that. Um, you know, it's quite quick and simple compared to maybe going and buying a load of wool or material and doing a big craft project. Um, so it's just really nice to come back to that space of just starting to create again for me. And I think for some people, writing a book, that whole process of writing a book, then it drops off because it's done, it's published, it's out there, and suddenly you're like, oh, what do I do now? So I know from talking to Nicola on her podcast yesterday, I think that is a very common thing of
Yeah. How did it go, the podcast?
it was brilliant. It was really good. It should be out later this week. So yeah, head
Oh,
to the
cool.
Unbound Writers podcast
I'll
and
align it up.
yeah, a little bit more about
I'll
the
put the
journey.
link. I'll put the link in. I'll put the link
Uh,
in.
so yeah,
Amazing. Yeah.
deep rest. I think that's a really important message at this point in time.
Yeah. So I just want to, is there any kind of remnants from launching the book to being where you're at now, of, you know, like critical voice, critical parent? Is there any of that coming in?
Probably more my own inner critic,
Yeah.
because obviously the book was finished. I received my first copy, I think it was the 25th of October. The launch officially was 11th of November. So it's only really been out in the world like just over 3 weeks.
Can I just stop and celebrate that 11/11 again?
Yay.
This is my new day. This is my Christmas. This is 11/11. Like, and what I love about that is just, you know, like, when did I never saw that in my life before, like, but now I notice 11/11, and I think it's just such a message for us all. Just, it all comes in the time that we need it to notice it. Like, it's so obvious.
Yeah.
That's my celebration day. Yeah. So sorry, 11/11.
Sorry, you've just brought up something else. They're talking about angel numbers. Obviously I've made vision boards and things for quite a long time, not religiously, but every now and then. And with my daughters, I think we did it on New Year's Eve one year. We created a big bit of paper. We all stuck loads of things on. We all wrote loads of things on. And I actually found a photo of it in my phone the other day. You can't quite see everything because obviously the writing and things are very small. But I'd put travel on a 747 because we'd never been on a big plane together. Obviously, this was before 747 sort of went out of service a bit. And then I started seeing that 747 everywhere, and then the 47 and the 1147. And it's really interesting that that was one of those kind of catalysts for really starting to see those angel numbers, which are just signs that we're on the right path.
Yeah. Does anyone know what their numerology numbers are? What?
Like life path numbers and things. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm a number 22.
I'm a 5.
You're a 5. What are you, Emily?
For 9.
9.
You're 9. Just give me a
Lovely.
second.
I love 9. It's that closing of one door, opening of a new chapter, sunset, going into sunrise. Love that.
Yeah. So what were you again, Lorraine? 5.
5.
So 5 is change, a
Yeah.
number ruled by Mars in astrology, a very fast number.
Yeah.
Number 9, this is the completion number.
Yeah.
Completion, sensitive and psychic, humanitarianism. And number 22 is the master builder and cosmic law. So, yeah, beautiful, beautiful. And I suppose if we add all our numbers up, that's going to come to a number, and that's going to be where we're at today as well. But we won't.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah, I love that. There's so much that's happening for me around numbers as well. Emily, by the way, anytime you want to come in and
Yeah. Oh my God, there's so much in that. So much to say about that. And I mean, I said at the beginning that I've had a magical few days, and every day is magical. I look for the magic in every day, and it's something that I've only started doing within the last Oh, difficult to say. Probably since around March time this year, when I did a big piece of work around establishing my values. And I realized magic was one of my values. So I call it in actively every single day. And and yeah, it's been a really, really amazing adventure for me this year. And free spirited adventure is another thing that I'm ultimately here for. And just on the weekend, I'm just deciding where to start with this story.
Yeah.
So there's something about Saturday, but I can't think what it was. But on Saturday night, I had Sunday morning, early Sunday morning, I had a dream, and in the dream, I was with girlfriends. I was with community. It was very important. I've detached myself from that of late, and I was with girlfriends, and then I had this deck of oracle cards, and one came out, and it was all crumpled, and I was really frustrated at the crumpling of the card because I hate it when any of my cards get bent or dog-eared or anything. So I thought, right, I'm going to put it back in the deck, and I'm going to use the pressure of the rest of the deck to try and smooth out the card. And as I did that, it literally flew out and hit me in the face. And it was like, no, you need to look at me. And I looked at the card, and it was the serpent was there. And usually I do wear a serpentine. Oh, no, I do have it on. I didn't think I did then.
Yeah.
And it said death on the card as well. And it was morphing, it was changing. And so as I woke up, I journaled straight away. I had to journal straight away. And I was journaling, and I was saying community, fun, girls, I need to get back into that and show myself and be recognized and have that reflected back to me. And I wrote, it's okay to be my true self. And then I realized after watching a YouTube video of my favorite astrology, one of my favorite astrology podcasts, of which I have many, of the date. And there was a talk about the zodiac and the precessional cycles, and there was a talk about how we're moving back into this like visual astrology and really looking at what is in the sky rather than, what's been set in astrology and what's been taught for many, many years. And then I remembered, I think we're in the time of, I can't remember how you pronounce this now, that star sign which isn't recognized. Orpheus, I think it's called, or Ophius, I can't remember. But it basically means the serpent bearer. And the
Wow.
30th of November to the 18th of December would have been a 13th star sign, which would have represented the serpent bearer. So I got all excited and looked in my magazine where I found out more about all of that. And I was reading it through, and I was getting so excited. And I was like, what does this mean? This means something. And then my daughter came up, and she'd gotten up early to open up her advent calendar. She was so excited that it was the 1st of December. And she came up, and she'd been colouring in a picture of 2 Christmas stockings. And it was a picture that she'd done at school. And it was from Crayola or something like that.
Criolla.
Printing, Crayola. They created these templates, and kids can colour them in. And at the bottom it said Serpent Creations.
Wow.
And then next to it said, you can imagine anything. And I was like, and I said to her straight away, I told her all about my dream. I told her all about the star sign. I told her all about how we've just got to get so imaginative and just be in our wild dreaming phase. And this means something. And
I
it
love.
was awesome. And I got so excited. And then I jumped straight onto a workshop, which was all about creativity. I was at a conference at the weekend for my multiple brains integration techniques coaching community, international community, and all of my work is ultimately about creativity. It's about reigniting my own creativity. It's about how I can spark my magic by being in the presence of others' magic. That's really important. I think that's where it comes back to community and
Yeah.
sisterhood. And yeah, so I don't know, take what you will from that.
Oh, love it. Serpents, yeah, in the Kundalini energy, it's the rising, isn't it? It's, yeah, it's the truth. It's the truth.
Yeah, and then I've been deepening into rest so much more so since that new moon, and really being called to meditate for much longer every single day. I've been working on creating my own shamanic meditations as well.
Yes, I enjoyed one of those.
And that was like my first real, like, I'm outing myself right now. I've been practicing delivering and facilitating meditation for quite a long time, but having gone on a recent shamanic meditation facilitation course and really deepening into that wisdom, um, I I thought, no, I need to make this space for my rest. And one thing that happens, and Lorraine mentioned it, is that my creativity and my playfulness is heightened because of it. And then there's this like push and pull between, you know, oh my goodness, so excited and like a kid in a sweet shop and like, oh, what shall I work on? What shall I do? And then this like patience. Have some patience. We're in Mercury retrograde right now. Slow things down a little bit. There's
Yeah,
all in good time. And so getting out in nature every day and really making a point of going walking. And then again, like the trees and the leaves and the mosses and the dandelions, and they're all just talking to me and they're all just giving me such such amazing insight into who I am and what I can achieve. And I don't have a lot of earth in my chart. So I think me being called to earth right now is perfect. It's grounding me so much.
I love the dandelions talking to you.
Yeah,
I
that
love
was
that.
part of my huge awakening earlier
Yes.
this year.
Your book, what's your book called?
My Dandelion Story.
That's it. That's it.
Beautiful.
My
Yeah,
dandelion story.
yeah. The
Yeah.
dandelions have been coming to me for a while now, for about the last 5 years, and I've only realized how much they wanted me to be in communication with them this year when I woke up from a dream, and there was just an awareness there. You know, I've got to just start listening to this wonderful ally of mine.
The
Um,
dandelion.
yeah, yeah.
I love that. I was somebody. I did a past life regression, and she said that I was. She saw me as a little boy in a field. I was highly. I was an artist and loved creating, and I was blowing the dandelions, and they were making. They looked like soldiers. They were going into the shapes of the soldiers, and at that point, I was writing. So I'd come out of my full-time job where I was teaching singing, and I'd been writing a children's book. And one of the characters sat in the field blowing dandelions.
Wow.
So, you know, there's no coincidence in any of this. And I love what you're just saying, like waking up from your dream, and that that you're actually recognizing that you're on earth right now to ground yourself, because you also mentioned the words free spirit. So, and what I'm, so that's that spirited side of yourself, yeah, is you're all, we're it all. And this is like what's been happening for me in this past week is, you know, coming out, and Lorraine helped me with the writing of this, with Cosmic Songbird, then Nor, my light baby that came in, you know, and obviously I miscarried, but through the work that I've been doing, understanding that she ignited the light in me, to Shira, who is from Lemuria, but she is me. There's no separation. There is no separation. And that's been a big thing for me this week. now to know that, okay, might be on the other side of the veil, but we are together. And of course, like, I know Lorraine's been following my hers for a long time. To get her, and here we are together. For me, a lot is about reclaiming, because, you know, I've had trauma, and I'm talking out about that now, and PTSD. So those parts of me that are hurt inside, you know, and that's what we're reclaiming. And even obviously that we're bringing in all of that energy and that intelligence that, you know, we've all had childhoods. And as I said, birdies, it's really time to fly.
I've had a lot of trauma in my life, in my childhood and in my adult life as well. And it's something that has and still is very sticky in me. And one of the things that I've been doing these past few weeks through my shamanic study is really asking for guidance for how I can ground into my native lands, because I've never really felt at home. I've never really felt at home anywhere, and I've always been seeking. And this idea now, and I've been doing some ancestral healing work myself, and speaking out about that, and just owning the fact that that's just inviting even more magic in. And
how's that making you feel right now?
How is it making me feel?
Mm-hmm.
Really much more connected to my land, to nature. And I was thinking, I want to call in, because I was doing my course with a lady who's in Costa Rica. You know, a lot of the talk of the animals were not animals that I could really relate to, being here in the UK. And so I was starting to think about, you know, what plants and animals are talking to me right now. And I was pulling some cards again one time, and chamomile came out, and chamomile, and I was really sort of leaning into this like inner peace, calm, you know, deep rest, all of that again. And on the card was deer.
Wow.
And I thought, oh my goodness, dear, of course. My name is Emily Doe. That's that was my ex-husband's name. I've decided through much deliberation to keep that name after I divorced, partly because my children wanted me to, but also because I thought to myself, no, that's actually the only thing that I like about my name. I actually love my name, and why not, you know, own it. And then I thought, of course, Doe is a female deer. That's
Yes,
exactly.
Doe, a deer, a female deer.
So it all, like you
Yeah.
said, there's no coincidence to any of this.
No.
And that connectedness to my land, to my people, to the emotion.
Yeah. That's right.
Bringing me
I
home.
could sense that there was something coming up. Yeah.
It's bringing me back home, and it's super exciting. It's the start of a brand new homecoming for me. And yeah, you would have seen me place my hand on my, if you're watching it back on the recording, I placed my hand on my throat, because there is still some work to do around just letting that bird free.
Yeah. And talking is one of the most magical spaces to do that, to let it out, because it just releases the shackles of the shame. And I suppose, like, for me, and Lorraine and I were chatting last month, that sometimes we just don't know that it's there, or we do know it's there, which is that denial. Don't even know that I'm lying to myself. We don't, but until we've got a space like this, It's about feeling safe to actually, yeah, speak out the shame. Yeah. Yeah.
I love the synchronicity of everything you've shared, Emily, and the dandelion. It's funny, my business, The Soulful Word, I've got a little dandelion clock kind of logo. So it's really interesting that the three of us that have chosen to be here today have all got that dandelion connection, which is really beautiful. And I also loved what you said about not having much earth in your astrology. I don't either. It's virtually all fire and air. So yeah, and I'm the same. I really need to be grounded, to be in nature, to touch the trees, to have, I've got pets. So, you know, to be with the cat and the bunnies and just, yeah, have that nature connection.
And of course, we have all of these elements within us. And that's one of the things that I first discovered about the dandelion, which I love so much, that representation of earth, air, fire, and water, sun, moon, and stars is all encapsulated within the dandelion. And I love
Wow.
that, just inviting everything back to wholeness within yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, within ourselves. And all of it is there within ourselves.
Oh,
And
and the
within
dandelion.
ourselves.
In within ourselves. And of course, the dandelion is self-seeding, so it has masculine and feminine.
Yeah.
And that's such an important part of what we're living through right now, and
Yeah. Yeah.
integrating that.
Yeah. So are we all identifying with kind of like light worker starseed?
I'm playing with it.
You're playing.
I'm playing with it.
You're
Yeah,
playing with it.
I'm totally open. I've just
Yeah.
identified unicorn as a spirit animal, so I'm playing at the moment. It's coming in thick and fast for me, these realizations.
I love it. The gloss that I've got on it, the company's called Unicorn Snot.
Brilliant. Love it.
Love it. Because, you know, I'm intrigued to know, like obviously from my own journey of piercing through, it's never really been shame. It's just like, but what happens if is what the others think, you know, like, okay, I identify, I say that I'm a light worker. You know, what are other people gonna think? And since that, even just in the last 3 days, something really incredible has happened. I've started to listen and learn more about DNA activation, and this led me to something called Pineal Tones, which is a choir that was set up in Maui in 2012. With other light workers to sing the energy of Lemuria back into to wake up the light workers. And I was like, okay, so in 2022, when Born to Stand Out, when I went into the studio and started singing these songs, I was like, okay, I was reawoken, I was realigned, and I totally believe that. And now what I'm like, that was a lightning explanation of miracles that are happening in my life. It's just like, okay, do I need to go in the studio and sing by myself, or is that still isolating? Is that still hiding? Am I going to be part of the bigger mission? Am I going to be part of the choir?
I'll come in a choir with you.
Yay!
I've been calling
Yay!
it choir for God knows.
Yay! You know, so I've kind of gone up, but just, I just suppose I'm just interested if there's any residue or if there's anything right now in any of us that we can invoke, heal, talk through, of shame, of I can't say that, like, you know, I understand that when I'm doing sound healing that I am psychically shifting blocks, healing people in their body. I see things, the visions come through really, really quickly. It's so rapid, you can't really even explain in the moment what's happening. And this is how energy and vibration works. It's fast, it receives the information. So yeah, is there anything in our human 3D form that wants to show up in the kind of latter part of this call to be talked through and healed in terms of identification of the shamanic, the light worker?
I had a realization, a download yesterday during a a meditation and a very lengthy online call to finish up my shamanic course that I was on. And there was some talk around, how do you invite your spirit guides in? And how do you communicate with them? How do you, and it's so unique for everybody, of course. But there was a talk there, and it's something that you said, Natalie, about the pineal, what was it called?
Pineal tones.
Pineal tones. There was some talk from our guide who was leading that course, facilitating that course, that said around there's something around decalcifying our pineal gland in order to receive those guides and messages and whatever form that takes for you. And there's also something in the fact I've just realized something really important from my own work that I've done for the last 15 years in fascia research and movement therapy. What got me back into wanting to sing again, and I used to sing a lot as a child. It was one of my biggest joys, and it's part of my story. It's part of my Dandelion story, and how I've come to activate my voice again was around learning at a big fascia day, that singing is one of the best things that we can do for our whole body, our physical body, because of the fact that it fluidizes. It fluidizes everything in our body. And when I was thinking about decalcifying then the pineal gland, that is not necessarily anything to do with our nutrition in terms of what we eat, but it absolutely could be through vibration that we decalcify our pineal glands. And I just had this like big aha moment when you said that. Because it works in our cardiac system, it fluidizes everything in our blood and keeps everything, moving. And my dad passed away from a plaque 17 years ago, plaque in his arteries from that hardening. So again, that's really just been a massive thing for me. And realizing, I think, as well, through my work now, that I'm here to be that person who activates others' souls through the work that I do, through the messages that I bring.
Ikuturo maaha ata aaro maaha aoro u ishte e mu u gut aari maakata umuya. Just a little, that concept of when we talk our truth, but then there's the monkey brain, there's that human, and I just sensed that a little bit, and just felt like it just needed to move some energy back through the throat, and the singing also, the humming activates the vagus nerve, and it's juicy. So Lorraine, how are you feeling about dancing now? Because we had this conversation because I went to my yoga retreat a month ago. How are you feeling about dancing? How are you feeling about singing and moving?
Yeah, I was going to bring it back to the singing, actually. That's something I talk about in my book, because when I was 5, so, first year or two of school, we obviously were doing some kind of singing thing at school, and this girl in my ear quite loudly said, "You're tone deaf," which obviously had come from something she'd heard, but it stuck with me throughout my whole life. And like you said, Emily, like I loved singing at home. I grew up in the early 80s, we had the cassette player, listening to Wham and Aha, George and everyone, and like singing along, trying to sing to Whitney Houston, like recording myself and then listening back. So I could hear that I couldn't really sing in tune, but I still enjoyed music, and I've always loved music. So yeah, it was really interesting that you you brought that up. And go back to what you said before, Natalie, about the choir in Maui. When I was
Yes.
writing my book, I had this vision of my book launch party in Hawaii, in Maui, in this, like I can picture it so well. We're all wearing like beautiful, long, floaty floral dresses and things, like all very vibrant colors. And it's just all women together. And I'd followed a few people online that were very much into plant-based eating, and you can obviously get all your fresh mango and everything in Hawaii really easy. And it was this whole energy. And so when you mentioned Lemuria as well, I've got my little Lemurian crystal I brought out today.
Yes. And did you
Yeah,
know that Lemuria is where Mary is?
yeah, I knew the
Yeah,
kind
you
of
didn't. I
of
didn't
the
know that. Yeah.
different areas and things. Yeah. So I
Wow.
think what's really beautiful is so much that we've shared today. It highlights those synchronicities between all of us. And when we get very isolated, afraid to speak our voice, afraid to share our truth, we don't then have these beautiful interactions. And soon as we start sharing, we could literally be on this call for hours because there's so many connections and synchronicities, things that we've had in common, places we've visited, work we've done, whatever it might be. There's so many, even just going back to the dandelion, as simple as a dandelion clock and blowing the wishes like we did when we were children. Oh, I still do it now. I
Yay!
think,
I
yeah,
know.
that's a really, if there was a moral to today's chat, a message in there, I think it's to talk to women, to open up, because we have grown up in an era, based on what's gone on historically, you can go way back to the witch trials and everything, but like that, women against each other and growing up with that era of competition. And actually, what's been beautiful for me over the last few years is building this community of women, and it's just so lovely to have that support and to have, like we've called these soundboarding sessions. It's beautiful to have a space where we can just chat, whether it is, face to face or over technology like this, just to have those women around you and to see those connections, to feel those connections, and just to feel you're so loved and supported and appreciated for what you do, because sometimes the people closest to us just don't get it at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we
And when you
can.
mentioned about your dad, Emily, with the hearts, I was just thinking that just before, because a friend recently shared a heart disease story with me. And I just, when we were talking about singing, I was just thinking the singing is very feminine energy and clearing, like you said, vibration, getting rid of those blocks. And the calcification and the arteries and the plaques it's like a symptom of our modern world, isn't it? Very masculine, women having to provide and do everything, and working, when maybe a lot of the time we'd actually like to be doing more nature-based, natural, feminine things. Yeah, I thought that was a really beautiful way to bring singing into modern work, modern life, and how more singing could help more women to be more healthy, beyond, like you mentioned, diet and things. That's my background too. Like, it goes beyond going to the gym and eating a healthy diet. There's so much more.
Yeah, and I mean it would be amiss of me not to mention Singing Mamas, because Singing Mamas is an organisation, a charitable organisation which I've been involved with for just over a year. I did my singing leader training with them, and
Love it.
as a woman, of any age, with or without children, it's a place where you can go, and there's groups all around the country, and it's worldwide now as well. And you can just go and sing for you. You can take your children,
Yes.
you can not have children. It's open for everyone, but it's not for the children, it's for you to go and sing in circle and sing in harmony, and just receive those sound baths from these.
Yes. Yeah. And
And I
that's that.
also,
Go
sorry,
on. Go on.
I also
Yeah.
just wanted to mention, Hub, about that women against women, that is being perpetuated. I have two daughters, they're 11 and 8, and I see it. I see it every single day. And if we don't break that cycle, it's going to just continue.
Yeah, yeah. But that's the awareness, you know, you being a mother with that awareness is going to guide them. You're breaking the chains to hopefully, I mean, you know, I have many conversations like this where obviously being a parent, you feel responsible, but we can only advise, can't we? You can only guide.
You can't even do that sometimes.
Yeah,
You just have
yeah,
to model. You just have to model because they don't want to listen
yeah,
to you.
yeah. And so fascinating, obviously, how in the human that the patterns, that the patterns repeat. I just want to also thank you for sharing about your dad. And just as you were sharing that, you know, it just reminded me of the difference between the hardening, the hardness. We can go through life with all of the masks still up and all the armor still on, or we can decide to you know, sit in these uncomfortable spaces where we're going to talk out the fear, and show up and you know, be vulnerable and start to soften. And then my first experience of softening, obviously I shared in my book, was with my singing teacher in London. And you know, he said to me, he put his hand like here and he was like, "You're so hard." Like, he felt the brittleness, he felt the response was brittle. And now obviously my body, through my own journeys, is very, very soft, which allows me to be more expansive. It allows me to be more connected, and it's allowing me to come out now and stay present for longer. You know, because the deep replenishment is important, as is the play. But I'm not going inside so much as a reaction. You know, so I'm being more authentic in my in staying out as who I am, which is more my adult driving. In that little image that I showed, you know, the inner child knows it's safe now. She knows it's safe to come out for longer periods of time. And in my own recovery work, you know, I've talked a lot about being sent up to my room, being in my room when I was living in with host families. That was my safe space. I was always retracting into one room, into one space to be safe. So no wonder the inner child has been like, but that's a big scary world out there, you know. And it's like, so now we're together. And so thank you for sharing that, because I would have seen soft women 10 years ago as, I'd have seen them as pathetic. You know, and so I was still harnessing the ancestral, you know, the generational limits, limiting beliefs.
I think it's also really important to point out there, like you've mentioned how you've softened, but at the same time, you've got into weight training in a really big way and you've sculpted this beautiful, strong body. And I've loved weight training since I was 15, since I very first tried a multi-gym at school, did the lat pull down. I was like, oh, wow, this feels good.
Yeah, because it's
so
our structure, right? My body is my structure. It's holding me.
I think it's really important that women can know that they can be physically strong and also soft and vulnerable.
Oh, I think this is a good place. This is a good place to bring down this conversation into a close. I love that. Yes, we can be strong and we can build that framework. The body is super, super important. It's so, so important. It's going to be different for everybody, the honoring. And so that we can then, support ourselves. And from supporting ourselves and waking up those cells, because there's a lot of information in these cells. This is what the reawakening is. You said you felt like you're coming home with the shamanic energy. I see that in you. I see the chief energy. I see that shamanic, grounded energy. Even though you're saying, I see the earth in you. you know, and I see the
My
stars.
body, right? Earth, my body. It is.
Yeah, and I see this. I see the stars in you, Lorraine. I see, as people say to me, you know, such a beautiful soul, Natalie. They see the light, you know, and so I think let's just with that, let's just finish with some sound. You can mute yourselves if you like, but just for a couple of minutes, let's just tone. Let's just do whatever wants to come through. Again, you can close your eyes. And just being all that you are together in these elements, all in our element. Yorumaya. And inviting the human mind to step out of the way, as Emily shared with us, because the singing actually decalcifies the body. It's so healthy for us. The nervous system starts to reboot itself, and that vagus nerve, the wandering nerve, it starts to heal the parasympathetic nervous system. It starts to calm you down. And whether it's just a simple hum, to a simple exhale, to a dragon's roar, to the sounds of the rain, singing out any leftover pain. Bringing yourself back to the breath, to the light codes within you, my darling, darling ones, for it is time. And you may still not feel confident enough yet to be all that you know you're going to be. But the biggest message that's coming through right now is that all we have is now. So the more we let out in our current state of awareness, the more present we become in the now, which helps us to present ourselves in order, with focus, with format, with structure, but as Lorraine said, with the vulnerability and the softness that shows our true self. Ikuturu makata. And so it is. Thank you so much. Sisters in sound, of sound. Lorraine, I've started reading your book, Wild Birds, and obviously there's this connection with me as well, with Cosmic Songbird, with the voice, with the trilling, with allowing our voices to be heard. So for maybe just for ourselves at the moment, it is my voice is worthy to be heard, and loving the throat. Lorraine, I will share the link to your book. Emily, I'll share the link. The link to your website or one of your
website,
cool.
Instagram, whatever.
Yeah,
Instagram's good.
Amazing. When this goes out, and anything that comes up, you know where I am. You can DM me through WhatsApp or through Instagram in response to the work, the celebration.
Look forward to being tagged and sharing. Thank you.
Yeah. And yeah, the next one will happen probably that first Tuesday of January. And everyone is invited, and let's just keep seeing where this goes.
Thank
Come
you
and
for,
join the conversation.
Come
yeah,
and join the
the
conversation.
long-form conversation. It's amazing. It's so nice and freeing. So freeing.
Yay. So beautiful to learn more about you as well, Emily.
Yeah, you too. And you,
Yeah.
Lorraine, lovely to meet you.
So lovely to meet you too, Emily. And that's a really important thing, isn't it? Like Natalie and I have known each other for a few years. You and I, Emily, this is the first time we've connected and actually chatted, and yet the conversation has just flowed. It's been so deep and beautiful, transformational. Might have sparked some curiosity for someone else, might have sparked some love, some desire to share or to get involved, to come and chat with us. So it just goes to show, whether it's somebody you meet for the first time or someone you've known for a long time, those connections can be there instantly. So
Yeah.
thank you both. Thank you.
Mwah. Lots of love
Lots of love.
Lots of
and
love.
hugs. Bye bye.
Bye.